Continue protesting gun violence. So without further ado, and to officially welcome you, we're going to welcome Connor Webb.
I want to welcome everyone to this event today and thank you for coming out in support of gun violence prevention. Thank you to Congressman Tonko, Mayor Sheehan, Assemblymember McDonald and Fahey, Lieutenant Governor Delgado, parents, New York State United Teachers, and community members who gather here today. I'm Connor Webb, President of the Gilderland Chapter of March for Our Lives, joined by our Vice President Emily O'Connor and our Outreach Coordinator Nora Whiteside. I'm here today as a representative of the student voice in demanding the end to this epidemic of gun violence. I am 16 years old and a sophomore in high school, the same age and grade as those 21st graders gunned down at Sandy Hook Elementary. Maybe because of our shared age, I sometimes find myself thinking about those 20 lost lives. Those kids murdered in their school 10 days before Christmas. My peers and I have spent our entire education knowing nothing else besides lockdown drills, fear, and the omnipresent drumbeat of more and more needless mass shootings. Sandy Hook, Emmanuel African Methodist Church, the Pulse nightclub, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Oxford High School, Tops Market, Robb Elementary School. A list which represents just a fraction of the gun violence deaths in the last decade. Did you know that there have been 33 mass shootings in the US since Uvalde? Did you know that gun violence is now the leading cause of death in children and teens? This is utter madness and an aberrancy in the world. And so we, the youth, are no longer politely asking for common sense measures that would quell the public health crisis that is gun violence. We need universal background checks, safe gun storage, a ban on weapons of war, and high-capacity magazines. And we're demanding it, and we will not capitulate until policies are enacted and enacted now. Not when the grieving is over, not after more thoughts and prayers, not later this year, not with the next election, now. We, the youth, are here today, marching across the United States to say in a unified voice, slaughter and fear does not have to be our reality. We refuse to accept passivity and the status quo and the endless loss of life. We are here to say loudly and emphatically, enough. Enough!
Let's give it up. They were great. I mean, I don't think you need to hear from us politicians. We've heard from the youth, and we have to act. It is incumbent upon us to ensure that our children are safe. That's like the most basic thing that we elected officials have to do for our communities. And we've heard from them. They don't feel safe. And we have to do something. I am so proud to live in a state that has common sense rules of the road with respect to guns. I am proud to live in a state with a governor who immediately took action because she knew that what we were doing was not enough. I'm proud to be the mayor of a city that enacted safe gun storage laws. I'm proud to be the mayor of a city whose residents are demanding action. But we cannot do it alone. We need federal action. And I'm here with you, teachers and nurses, and the people who are dealing with the casualties of this country's obsession with guns, in unity with you, to say enough is enough. It is time. We shouldn't need to yell and to scream and to pound our fists on the table. The numbers tell us everything. You're educators. You know this. Guns do not make us safer. New York State, which has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, has some of the lowest rates of gun deaths per capita. Because those rules of the road, those common sense controls on guns, help to keep us safer. It's just a fact. We do not make ourselves safer, or our schools safer, or our grocery stores safer, or our communities safer by buying more guns. So you need to continue this work that you are doing. It is so powerful. The power that you have, the power of our teachers and our nurses and our students and our community members, is something that our country needs to hear. We do have to march. We do have to lift our voices. We are the majority. We are the majority. So you are joining your fellow teachers and nurses and community members, but you are joining people across the country who agree that enough is enough. We want universal background checks. We want to stop selling weapons of war. We need to have red flag laws nationally. We need to stop the culture of gun and gun violence, and we can do it. You can do it. We have the power. We are the majority. We are the majority. Thank you.
Good morning. Are you ready? Are you ready for reforms? Are you ready for common sense gun safety reforms? Are you willing to raise your voices? Are you going to remind us that we need action at the federal level? We need to take control of a situation that is devastating. Over the last year, we have seen some 250 mass slayings. 27 of those mass slayings at our schools. Our precious children are at risk. They should not live in fear. They should know that going to school is a safe and comfort zone. So again, we need to take action. Are we ready? I can't hear you. Okay, let's move forward with action. This week, I'm proud to say that with H.R. 7910, Protecting Our Children Act, the House of Representatives moved with sound gun safety legislation, sound packaging of legislation that will make a difference, raising that purchase price on an assault weapon. A weapon of war is something that at least we can begin with as a reform. Making certain we make a statement out there about background checks, making certain they're fully implemented is important. It takes away the fear. It is important for us to make certain that we address bump stocks, making certain that we don't have these rapid fires when our children are the victims of those perpetrators of crime. We need to make certain that we address that magazine capacity. We need to make certain that we go forward with those common sense reforms about gun storage, all of which was included in H.R. 7910, a sound package of gun safety measures, many coming from those who witnessed the victimization of children and our general population in their districts. So it is time for action. It's time to end the silence. It's time to speak to the gun violence. We know that when we have situations in our midst, like here in New York, where in Buffalo, 10 innocent victims were gunned down in a grocery store, we need to bring common sense safety to the forefront. When we see all of those, when we see all of the children at Uvalde, at the Robb Elementary School, 19 children gunned down. We hear the painful stories of those who survived, who covered themselves in blood so they could make it through that carnage activity. And to lose our 2 teachers. So we're nicer today. We join in our voices to say that it is time. Enough is enough. Gun safety has to be the message. Let's go forward. We're going to continue in the House of Representatives. We're going to address the Amber Alert situation in times of mass slayings. We're going to hold hearings on a full ban of assault weapons. And we will continue to march forward with what is best for America, what is best for her children, what is best for our families. We are a gun culture. We need to turn that around. Thank you one and all for your support today. Let's go out there and make a difference with our voices. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Si se puede.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Teachers, students, parents, nurses, thank you. Please keep showing up. Clearly we are not doing enough, so we must keep showing up. We must keep speaking up. We must keep standing up. I pulled out a speech from 4 years ago, from the first rally of March for Our Lives. I can't believe I could use the exact same script, except I am so proud to live in New York. So proud, where we have taken action. We've taken action every single year. We were the first state to react again after these horrific mass slayings in Buffalo and Uvalde, and of course the countless more that you heard the students tell us about every day, every weekend. It's out of control. We must stop it. We know what works. We know what can help. We know the more gun control, the more gun safety measures, the safer we are. We know that Connecticut, when they adopted a whole host of gun violence measures after Sandy Hook, their gun homicides dropped by almost 40%. When Missouri, we should not be valuing our guns over our children, and that question haunts me. It haunts me, and I know it haunts you. It is the definition of hollow sympathy when we do not get Congress, and we know the House of Representatives has acted, we need the Senate to act. But it is thank you, Paul Tonko, for continuing to speak up, but now we need the U.S. Senate to act. No more hollow sympathy. Enough is enough, as we keep hearing. It's a multi-pronged approach as well. No single measure is going to fix this. We've just adopted 10 more laws. And one we did last year, I was proud to sponsor with Senator Myrie. We're going to start holding these gun manufacturers accountable for their loose sales and marketing to children and young adults. And thankfully, we have a less than bashful Attorney General who is taking that law, and she's aggressively going to go after these manufacturers. So we know we can do it. We've also just passed a bill that I'm so proud to have sponsored with Senator Kaplan, co-sponsored with my colleague John McDonald and many more, on holding social media platforms accountable. It's not enough to go after the guns. We must address the social media bubbles that too many of our youth and adults are living in, it's amplifying and exaggerating the violence and encouraging it. So we've got to, just as we say in New York City, see something, say something, we've got to start that with social media too. There's so much that can be done. And it's going to take all of us. And we will keep passing legislation. We'll do everything we can to do all we can to keep you and all of our children safe. Thank you. Please keep speaking up, standing up, and showing up, and amplify your voices. Thank you to all who have helped organize this. It's always an honor to work with you and to represent you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Pat. And first of all, tonight, I said thank you for bringing us together, for all that took time out of your lives today to be here. We appreciate you being here. We sincerely do. It's great to join with our congressman, our mayor, my colleague, Pat, but more importantly, with the community at large. A couple weeks ago, when Uvalde happened, I stopped and said, how sad is this? Arguably, the safest place you think your child would feel comfortable is in a school. And now we have children talking about the fact that they're not feeling safe. They don't want to go back to school. To the teachers out there, to our students, stand strong. Stand strong. Connor's comments. Connor, thank you. Truth of the matter is, here in New York, thanks to the leadership of our governor, Governor Hochul, people like my colleague Pat Fahey, the Senate and the Assembly, we acted. And we know there's still much more to be done. What's interesting, whenever we take these common sense approaches, is inevitably we get these nasty emails about we're stamping out people's Second Amendment rights. And they'll say, how could you vote for that package? And my response very quickly is, did you actually look at the package? Did you look how the voting went? Because you'll see a lot of bipartisan support, because here in New York, we took a comprehensive, common sense approach. That's what we need to do. That's why we support our Congressman Paul Tonko as he fights the fight in Washington. And Paul, thank you. You've been a consistent partner all throughout the process.